Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about groomsmen. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
And my name is Adam.
And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. Adam seems really intent on getting us all together for something tomorrow. I don't know what it is exactly.
Just want to hang out with you guys. So I can
on a Monday
night.
Apropos of nothing.
Have a beer and talk about things which may or may not pertain to a wedding that I am having next year.
Adam,
and this is attempt number 3 to do said chat.
I humbly accept your offer of best man. And look, Tom, I know you don't. I know you don't bear any ill will.
No, not at all.
For coming in second best. But that's.
I just think more Adam needs to temper his expectations that we'll be able to do it tomorrow, because so far this has not happened because Adam was ill.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen last week because I was ill.
Yeah.
And this week it might not happen because you are ill/injured. So then I guess the next week it has to not happen because Adam's brother has to have something happen.
Yeah.
And then we can catch up. Then we've all delayed it once. Then it's all a blank slate. And then, yes.
And then Tom's in New South Wales, in which case
this is how you know that I'm becoming a dad. Is that I've done my back.
You've done your back.
You're a man in your 30s now.
Yeah.
Everything hurts.
What did I do? Nothing. I just fucking twisted wrong. What'd you do? I didn't sleep. Didn't sleep right. I slept at a slight angle. I stood up quick.
You enjoyed the pleasures of this so-called life, and now you like
standing, do ya?
Mm-hmm.
We got something for that, which is my way of announcing my wife and I are having a child, I guess, on the podcast. I guess that's just relating it to me and my back. Yeah, just slid that in there quietly.
Now public knowledge.
It's public information.
It's nice that you told the public first before you told your family. But
no, I told my family. They're aware. I slipped a note under the doormat.
Yeah, I don't want to see you, but I just want you to know.
Just so you know the impregnation status of my wife.
Yeah. That's always that's something that I've always thought about. When people say they're trying for a baby, like you didn't tell us
gross.
In this context, you guys just told us to be like, oh, we're pregnant, yay. But when people are like, oh, we're trying for a baby, like, it's kind of like sweet to know that people are, they're moving forward in that stage of their life, but also you're telling us. You're telling us you're having lots of unprotected sex.
You're dumping hot loads constantly. Just like, big, hot, cummy loads.
Yeah, it's just like, cool. As soon as, I don't know, maybe that's just me just making
I agree.
Weird. It's always like people weird. Say in the sense of like, we're trying for a baby. They haven't said like anything gross or weird, but then my brain goes, well, I know what that means, and I know that about you now.
Yeah. Picture it, Tom, in your head. Picture it, image it.
I know. See, we assumed it was happening. We know that you're an adult couple. You're in a relationship. You're probably having some form of sex. But I don't need to think. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to visualize it.
I think about it a lot. It's just when you
think about us. Oh, okay.
Anyone I ever meet, if you and I have met, I've thought about you fucking.
No, but I hate that.
Just when you throw that extra little detail in there, and just like, I don't know, it just makes it real. And is that weird? Am I the weird one, or are you the weird one for telling me?
I do the exact same thing. It is weird. It is weird, but we're weird together.
Yeah, I don't automatically think about that, but now that you've triggered it, now I'm going to have horrible nightmares tonight. So thank you both. This is a news and politics podcast where we tell jokes and stuff.
George's upcoming fatherhood is news. It is information that is new for the people listening.
It's new.
Unless they were present when we were told,
or when I was inseminating. if you're present,
easy words like inseminate. Let's just This is like you're having a baby. Leave it at that.
When we were engaged in the sexual event, if you were present for that, then obviously we need to have a word because as far as I'm aware, it was just us two. I'm so glad my wife doesn't listen to these anymore.
She would be horrified.
She would not be happy with this.
Absolutely
Can't she
horrified.
hear you in the next room?
No, I strategically close. There's like multiple
3
layers of
doors.
doors. It's
Several
kind of like Get
doors.
Smart with
Yeah.
all the various layers of doors between. She
Yeah.
under no circumstances wants to hear me making penis jokes as a guy in my early 30s. In order to
we're
be able to
adults.
continue respecting me as a
She
co-parent.
realized, A, who she married, and B, who she's siring a child with.
Siring, great word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep
very
using
good. Good
those words. Now, it's actually interesting that we're having this chat because it's this kind of chat, the kind of stuff you see in online chat rooms like Discord, 4chan, Reddit, and the rest, where the meme lords reign supreme.
Yeah,
A lot of
they often talk
insemination
about-
chat on Reddit.
Yeah, they are
Insemination.
talking a lot about
Yeah.
their futures and getting married and when they want to have kids, just all interspersed with a few throwouts of the N word here and there, and then you've basically got a Discord chat.
Yeah. So we'll have that. So we've got this context, and what's happened in the news this week is that we've got that, and we'll also add in some classified US intelligence to that discussion.
The best kind of intelligence.
Oh,
just
bro.
to round it out a little bit.
You
right?
don't
Just
have
to
a
round it
Discord.
out.
Like, is your Discord server even legit if you don't have classified US documents about the Ukraine conflict on there? I mean, are you even
apparently
trying, bro?
So amazing. I love everything about this story. So the part of it that happened
Everything.
this week that is everything. About it,
Everything.
it's amazing. Absolutely everything. So the part that happened this week was a man was arrested by US officials because they were believed to be a person who leaked highly classified Pentagon documents on a Discord server about a month and a half ago. So the man suspected to have done this was a member of the National Guard, I think, right? Like the part of the National Guard, and had the documents in question related to briefings around the Ukraine, the war in Ukraine at the moment. And it was a big, serious deal. I think it was touted as one of the biggest intelligence breaches of this century, so of the past 23 years.
It's the biggest thing since Snowden.
This leak of, which I'll explain the context more in a minute, of dipshits doing silly shit online was at the level of Snowden and Chelsea Manning and all this sort of stuff.
And
so
these
are in the same breath.
It's in the worst. It's worse than that because this is intelligence about an ongoing conflict of which
That's a good point.
there are lots of moving parts. Whereas the other leaks were stuff that it was all information about stuff that had already happened, right?
Yes.
So
these are like briefings of battle movements and all that sort of stuff. I haven't actually read through sort of the documents themselves, but I feel you don't really need to understand the seriousness of this. But the part of it that makes this very interesting was that this leak happened on a Discord server, and not just any Discord server. It was a Minecraft Discord server,
Classic.
a Minecraft Discord server that had approximately 25 members.
Nice.
So not a huge server. This isn't like fucking Reddit or 4chan the size of people. There's 25 guys in here.
What a loser, feeling the need to flex on his fucking dodgeball team or whatever. What a fucking loser. You're going to go to jail for the rest of your life. You're going to be sat there like the Count of Monte Cristo looking at the night sky through a slit in the ceiling being like, one day I'll be able to see the light again. One day. Why were you doing it? Oh, well, I was doing it. How'd you end up here? What'd you do? I killed a man. What'd you do? I'll link some documents to the Discord server for clout.
Yeah,
and now I've got life in prison.
Yeah, because that's the part of it that's bonkers, right? So the Discord server was called Minecraft Earth Map. And
Minecraft and secrets or something.
The Washington Post describe it as a Discord server that is an invitation-only clubhouse with about 25 active members, where an elder-like figure known as OG lectured the younger members on the group on global affairs and secretive government operations. Now, I'm not sure if the person they've arrested is also who they're alleging is OG.
Yeah.
But it seems what happened was in this chat, two people just got into an argument about what was happening in Ukraine. Not sure what the argument was, but then after they, have a bit of a back and forth, a bit of a social media tiff, we've all been there. This person's response to the other user was just, "Oh, okay, how do you like them apples?" here's all this information about the Ukraine. Like, here's some classified documents. I win. I am king of the 25-man Minecraft Discord. I reign supreme. Either I am OG or up yours OG. Here's all the shit that I know.
It's such a crazy thing to go to jail for the rest of your life for.
Right?
This is the thing, though. Like, this is the fourth time it was already shared.
Yeah.
So this came from, there were two other Discord servers where this was shared in. So the one that Tom's talking about was the most recent Discord server. From that Discord server, it then went to like 4chan and Russian pro Telegram channels.
Yeah, and that's when it got attention. Because that's why like the Discord post happened like at the start of March, and we're now like halfway into April. So it's like, this happened 6 weeks ago, but people only recently noticed because it fucking hit 4chan.
Isn't that crazy that it's just been like circulating online for weeks and months, and then the FBI's like,
oh, fuck.
Guys, I think we should, sorry, if you don't, just, could I get your attention? I know you're trying to entrap some kid named Muhammad in New Jersey, but if I could get you guys to just focus over here. I think there's some stuff that's going on with this Discord thing. I don't mean to. Yeah, no. We'll still entrap them. Like, don't get me wrong. We're still in the business of entrapping innocent Muslim youths. But, like, maybe if we could just focus on these leaked documents over here. They've been out for a month and a half, so I think we should. My inbox is just crazy. Like,
the user that shared them on the Minecraft server got them from another one, which was for fans of Filipino YouTuber MauWow, where 30 documents had been posted 3 days earlier with dozens of other unverified documents. And then someone had grabbed that from a third Discord server called Thug Shaker Central, which is potentially the original leak from that.
Having to read these names in like
a
reputable media sources.
But listen to this channel, though. This channel is...
and just reading from the transcript, now, did you say, no cap fam, I'm straight bussin', about these leaked documents? Was that yourself?
And is Butt Surfer 69 in the room with us now?
Could you point him out to the jury?
Please point out, to the jury. Butt Surfer 69.
So the original one was a military themed. The users of that original Discord server were interested in video games, music, Orthodox Christianity.
Wait.
And was a fandom for the popular YouTuber Oxide, which is a military-themed YouTube channel.
Gaming sort of thing, or just
military
stuff.
YouTube.
Right.
You can look it up.
Sorry, just the non sequitur there of just like, because like 2/3 of the way I was with you there, like video games, love a good video game, music, love music, Orthodox Christianity.
That's an odd Venn diagram. I don't know how often those circles I like cross over.
Call of Duty, listening to Paramore, and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yep, the three main food groups.
Yeah,
Oxide is it's actually like a gun channel, basically.
Right. Okay.
Probably Russian. Looks to be potentially East European. I don't know. I'm sure, but lots of AKs and stuff.
Fair enough. So I don't know. I just think this is pretty wild.
It's crazy.
That just this got dropped in to settle an argument rather than kind of like an actual proper leak. And that's what was breaking some of the investigators' minds, from what I gathered from like follow-up analysis, was that in the cases of Snowden or Chelsea Manning and WikiLeaks and all that sort of stuff, this was all like there was, for lack of a better phrase, there was motive. There was like people wanted, this information was taken and then leaked because Snowden thought, the people need to know that they're being spied on and like did all the stuff like that. Or Chelsea Manning,
the fact that
a
there's
similar kind of thing, like leaking out secrets
data
for public
gathering
interest.
apparatus that's literally hoovering up everyone's personal data everywhere at all times, completely without access to warrants or any kind of like oversight. Like that is the thing that the public should know about. Yeah.
And there was public interest motivations and all that sort of stuff. Whilst in this case, they were like, in investigating, we cannot find like what was the motivation behind this, like what state secrets, like, you know, what do they have possibly to gain? Like trying to track down who this is. Like, no, you don't understand. They did this to impress like 20 edgelords. Like, and I know that breaks your brain, FBI. But they just want the clout of a bunch of Minecraft nerds.
Tell me you're a status obsessed 21-year-old male without telling me you're a status obsessed 21-year-old male. Like,
I don't
like
understand.
it was either this or like flossing some new Nike Air Maxes. Like I had to do something to get the respect to the hierarchy. Yeah. Otherwise the lobsters, like Jordan Peterson said, the lobsters won't respect me if I don't release some like documents from the fucking Pentagon.
I mean, if they really wanted to really get their status, I mean, everyone loves a good flex in a chat. They could start a podcast with two other white males, and that would be all the attention.
No,
no idea.
That doesn't ring any bells.
You could rip some bongs and be wrong about stuff all the time, and then be the most successful podcaster in the world.
You could be.
Just talk about being a high value male and just say, "Bro, I hate that" all the time.
The thing that from a Guardian article I was reading that blew my mind is that this is actually becoming more and more of a thing.
Oh, this is a thing now. This is like a go-to sort of repository.
War Thunder chats. Yeah. So the video game War Thunder,
which is like a military
aircraft combat.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like dog fighting in planes with your mates kind of thing. I played it once; it was fine. It updates constantly. It's very annoying, so I deleted it. But like,
the updates are at hand. But there's also like tanks and ships and stuff.
Yeah. Like every day, 30 megabyte updates, and I'm glad the devs are really excited about like future proofing it for the community. But it's incredibly fucking annoying when you get updates constantly. Anyway, it's also a repository for sharing secret documents, as it turns out.
Well, in 2021. Classified design details about the French Leclerc tank were posted to win an argument about turret rotation.
It's just angry nerds. It's just these motherfucking angry nerds going, well, actually, and then dropping classified documents to own someone in chat just because they got fucking salty on main and now they got to show up, you know, fuckboy 69 in the chat and now they're going to jail. These people are going to jail forever. The heat death of the universe will happen before they get out of jail for these crimes.
Well, yeah, so I think there's a quote here. I'm just trying to find the full name of the person it's from because it's further down in the article and they don't reference full names. I should have had that written down. Anyway, but someone referring to essentially this phenomena in that I just thought this was interesting. They said that we tend to think in terms of ideology or ego being drivers of leakers, and that the arenas for those type of actors are geopolitical. And because of WikiLeaks or Edward Snowden, that the media arena for that type of illicit behavior is vast. But in fact, notoriety and fame doesn't need to be very grand in scale. So it is kind of the same sort of idea of like wanting clout, but they're happy for that clout to be amongst 20 shitheads, because they followed up saying
some of this is like I think some of the documents that are, like in this case here, the people that are sharing them probably aren't even like aware of what they're sharing.
Well, some of them might.
I'm not the original source of the leak. Yeah. Like, who cares? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's kind of like they just seem like, I don't know, in some cases they just seem to be happy to be known amongst this one Discord server as they're like, whoa, yeah, like Steve knows,
he's
like he knows his shit. He's got sources in the Pentagon or whatever, and he's just happy to be known as that. But then fucking the footage of like the army rocking up to this guy's house. Like, this wasn't just some gung-ho cops coming in to raid him. Like, the army turned up. And someone I saw shared a screenshot of, like, you can track kind of helicopter activity in certain areas, and in the general area of the guy's alleged address, there was just circles, just like helicopters fucking everywhere. Probably media, probably other things, which is like, oh shit. I saw that the New York Times, who was the one who I think first published like the name of the guy who they have arrested on suspicion of this, that they matched up, like, because the actual documents that were leaked on the Discord, it's not like here's a PDF. They were photos of the paper documents, like, on a surface and like all that sort of stuff, and they matched the countertop that was in the background to other photos of this person being in a kitchen with the same countertop, and like matching the actual detail in like the granity surface to make sure they're the same swirls and shit.
But he is the original leaker as far as we can tell then, because he's the one who's actually taken the photos.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Documents.
Yeah, that's what they were going with there. Like, this is the and I don't know, they're in the Air National Guard or whatever, and probably could have had access to them.
How would he have even got?
But
I think picked him up and like put him in his pants and walked out. I thought it was I saw someone like like a late night comedian say that somewhere, to be like, wait, you can just take this shit.
Yeah.
Like, you hear about Chelsea Manning burning the secrets to CDs and then putting like Lady Gaga album art on the top of the CDs, just to be like, oh, they're Lady Gaga CDs. And so they didn't put them in a computer to check what was on them. They're like, oh, yeah, fair enough. Bad Romance is a banger. And then off they go. Like, right?
It just that really ages us, by the way, when espionage was conducted on burnt CDs.
And I was picking a Lady Gaga reference from the period that probably
was that was solid.
Thank you. Yeah, no Chromatica back in that time.
I feel like you're kind of a covert Gaga fan.
Lady Gaga. Well, yeah, I have a queer fiance, so
yeah, there you go. It is wild to me that they managed to track this guy down from from the granite of his bench top and something that was on his countertop, and that's how they narrowed it down to this guy. But we still don't know how Jeffrey Epstein got murdered. Well, that's interesting. When they want to solve a crime.
Now, the granite benches were turned off.
When they want to solve the crime, they're really all over it. But, when a guy who's in with all the most powerful people in the world kills himself, then all of a sudden, nobody knows. I guess the guard was sleeping.
Yeah.
Another element to this that I found kind of funny was that, so obviously it got picked up, put to 4chan and the Russian Telegram channels or wherever that it was going. I'm not sure which side did this, but one of them doctored the documents to change all the figures to make it look better for their side. It's like, how desperate do you have to be to take, the fake, the leaked documents? You have to like, rather than just not sharing them, you have to share them, but you have to edit the details.
Well, it's all about sowing doubt. Like, is any of this legit? Like, could this be legit? Was it this, or was it this other version that's the legit one? Like, I think it's really just about muddying the waters at that point.
Obfuscating the situation.
Yeah.
So it seems like it would make more sense for the US side to do that than for Russia, for example, right? Because they would want the real information. They might doctor it to then make their own propaganda, but I don't know.
A lot of the documents, like, the actual information contained within them is not necessarily groundbreaking.
It's not super spicy.
Like, it's like, this is our estimation on how many tanks Russia has left. Like, civilians have been doing that work as well. Like, it's not, crazy intelligence.
But there is some stuff like, we expect Ukraine's going to run out of shells on the 3rd of May. Like, that sort of stuff, which is like, that's probably not good for the Russians to know about. Like,
so that kind of stuff, not good. But I mean, again, the Russians would probably already know that. It's more, the issue is more around how did the US find that out? So it's the sources
and methods, right?
Methods. So, because the Russians can go, well, obviously they worked that out because we had them sitting out in the open and a satellite picked it up, or maybe we'll move it indoors, or whatever it may be. In the worst case scenario, if it's tied to an individual, that person's life could be in danger.
Yeah. Or if it's to do with, spies or assets and things like that, then might get, whatever access they might have into the Russian state
apparatus.
Might get compromised as a result. It's not good.
The other thing that I found was interesting was that there was sort of confirmation that there are Western special operatives operating in Ukraine, which I'd always sort of assumed because we've been doing the same thing in Syria and other countries for years. So makes sense, but it's weird to have that sort of confirmed in sort of broad daylight.
That there's spies in the region.
like Delta Force and SEALs and SAS and those kind of probably training the Ukrainians or helping them guide in and sort of teaching them, you can hit this, you can do that, but I'm assuming Russia would have had Spetsnaz and other things in there. It's
that's
kind
not
of
boots on the ground in the sense of we've got American forces,
100,000 forces
engaging with Russian forces. Yeah. Like I think it's like a training and it's we all sort of assumed that was happening. I think, but you're right to get confirmation of stuff that's actually happening on the ground. It's like that's
but
not great.
What video game community do we want to hear state secrets leaked in next?
COD seems like the obvious example.
COD? See, I don't know. I was thinking, but I think the less military connected the game, I feel the funnier it is.
Farmville.
The fact that it was Minecraft. Yeah, I was thinking if there's some really old school Nintendogs fans and just this, because that game has not been around for ages, so that anyone in that community is probably more likely to be higher ranking in whatever secret or whatever highly classified department that they work in, because they will just be middle-aged. I think just that would be great if between discussing which version of Nintendogs was superior, also someone is just by the way, here are the launch codes. Karen, here are the launch codes. Get off my dick.
It has been a thing in I know a number of spy shows have done this where like in the latest Jack Ryan, where they're, chatting through a video game chat and things like that. Like it is a whole Discord chats and video game chats.
Communities radicalizing people and shit. Yeah.
Well, not just radicalizing, but I'm sure if you're playing I'm sure that video games could be a way into radicalizing people.
Oh, 10,000%.
No, just in terms of covert communications happening because there's such a huge preponderance of online video game chats across various games, across various servers, between regions. I don't see there's any way that, unless you're using something AI assisted, where it's trying to ping for keywords or something like that, how any intelligence service could ever be across all of those channels. It's one thing if I text you can't wait to do a bombing. It's that's going to be picked up by the telco provider or something like that. And then, someone's going to look at it. But if you're in some encrypted chat through Discord or through Telegram in one, or you're just to meet in a certain server. So it's like a coded thing. We know we're going to be in this server at this time. And then we can sort of chat. I don't see how any intelligence service could ever track any of that sort of stuff.
This is where you get situations. It's kind of similar to, what was that TV show where they were doing they had their own dark web kind of thing.
Startup? Is that what you're talking about?
Startup.
The one with that.
Where the federal government, decides, well, we can't track it, but we could get a backdoor into your system, then we can. So the question is, what's Discord's response to this? Right? Does Discord wash their hands and go, well, we've got our user policy, and it's up to people to abide by that. But this is the slippery side. This is why Facebook and these kind of online Twitter, they can't keep up. They can't actively. Even they haven't got the technology to actively check for all this stuff.
I just love the idea that some lawyer at Discord is going, see, and this is why we included the language, including but not limited to. This is why we put that in, guys, because I didn't say secret documents about the Ukraine war, but that should mean also things like documents that cover the Ukraine war. You all called me crazy. I was doing my job. Just little old George, the crazy Discord lawyer, saying included but not limited to. Now we're all covered. You're welcome. I deserve a raise.
I can't afford a raise because no one's buying Nitro. But
that's the Discord subscription. Yeah, it is weird that it's completely free, the service.
Yeah, it's aggressively free. But the same thing's been happening in WhatsApp groups and other social media platforms have been trying to grapple with this sort of situation of how hands-on do you get? And then once you do get hands-on, how do you really ever keep up with the moderation. AI is not quite there yet. So how do you, ban people without actually banning? Like in my instance, where it's, I got banned from Facebook because someone hacked my account, but all they see is some shit posting and some
Adam using the N-word constantly.
Yeah. But, they don't know that it's not me. The system's not clever enough.
Right.
The AI just goes, there's been a report. Obviously, there's some posts there that are in breach of the code. We'll ban him. But any further work on top of that,
man, they can't even. These AIs can't even find people cheating in video games. You think they're going to be able to track down the source of fucking terrorism? Like it's based on comments in the voice chat, which could be coded language. Like there's no way that any of these services could keep up with the sheer volume of like content and shit that's being generated. It's just never going to happen. Like unless AI gets like remarkably better very quickly. Yeah.
It's tricky. When ISIS were a thing, I'm pretty sure they were using the same sort of thing where you would get sort of invited into some sort of chat room somewhere, and same thing with the Nazis that are here in Victoria. They've got their own chat rooms, and it's been referenced
WhatsApp groups and
that kind of thing. So it's pretty terrifying. I mean, it's good in some ways because it increases privacy, I guess. Where the government, like in China, they can't just like listen to everything that's happening on. What's it called? WeChat or whatever Weibo. But but the flip side of it is that there is some nefarious shit that happens in a lot of this stuff that you just don't want to know about, but that you do want to know about, but it's like sometimes ignorance is bliss, if that makes sense.
Speaking of ignorance, Clarence Thomas.
Yes.
Well done.
So Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court judge and duffel bag of shit, has maintained that for more than 2 decades, he's been accepting luxury trips virtually every year from a Dallas businessman, and he was ignorant of the law that said you had to declare gifts over $100. Basically said, it's not a gift. Yeah, the trip, if I booked it on his private yacht with his private jet, yeah, if I booked that trip, it would cost me $500,000. But that's just hospitality. That's it's just what
it's just my mate.
It's just
he's
what
just
it's
my
like.
Friend.
Hanging
and he
out
hasn't got business in front of the Supreme Court, so it's fine.
It's fine. As far as we know, he hasn't got business.
Are you telling me?
Well, I thought that was one of Clarence Thomas's responses. Was like he didn't have business in front of the Supreme Court, so I didn't feel it was necessary to flag it as a conflict of interest because there's no interest to be conflicted on.
Yeah, but the idea that a billionaire just wants to hang out with you for your personality, Clarence. Famously, Clarence Thomas, who never fucking says a word, with such a sparkling personality such as Clarence Thomas. Why wouldn't you want to be friends with him? The idea that a billionaire businessman just wants to give you $500,000 worth of free consideration holidays every year for the last 20-something years just because he likes the cut of your jib, I don't think is. I don't think
You're
that's.
telling me the expert in the law didn't understand or know of.
Oh no, he knew about
the
it.
Rules.
Yeah,
he knew about it.
So basically, he knew about it. He says, it's like, I sought some advice at the time, and they said it's chill. Don't worry about it.
But isn't he the one that's meant to be giving? Like, he's the advice giver. He's a
Supreme Court justice, so you would think he would know. Yeah. You think he'd look at the clause. But basically, what it says on gifts. So this is the Ethics in Government Act. I believe this was put together after the incidents of Watergate.
How dusty was that book when they opened it?
It was like Indiana Jones, and they pulled it out and they just, and it's just like all the pages, just covered in dust, like something out of National Treasure.
Yeah, no one's read this in a while.
So regarding gifts, the identity of the source, a brief description, and the value of all gifts aggregating more than the minimal value as established by section whatever of this title, or $250, whichever is greater, received from any source other than a relative of the reporting individual during the preceding calendar year, except that any food, lodging, or entertainment received as personal hospitality or of an individual need not be reported, and any gift with a fair market value of $100 or less, as adjusted at the same time, the same percentage as the minimal value is adjusted, need not be aggregated for the purposes of this subparagraph. So there's a lot of legalese there, but basically...
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I fucking hate how those are written.
This is exactly why lawyers all still have jobs.
Yeah.
So basically what it's saying there is gifts over $250 if it's this, or $100 if it's this, need to be reported.
Unless it's come from a direct relative.
It's like hospitality from a direct relative. So like I go over to my brother-in-law's place, he gives me a present for Christmas, or he gives me a bottle of wine. And it's fine for him to do that. It just needs to be registered. You just need to write it down, say, I took a bottle of wine from so-and-so that was worth $1,000. This is the same thing that got Barry O'Farrell in trouble. Is basically just didn't declare.
The Grange. Bottle
of Grange, and that ended his political career. So it's fine for you to do this. Just fucking write it down. Yeah, okay, I got a bottle of Grange. It's worth about $1,000. Yeah, cheers. Signed, guy who no longer has a political career. That's all you need to do. But obviously he didn't do that. And all of the legal experts that I've seen that have covered this have basically said it's completely unreasonable for him to claim ignorance and say, I said it was fine. They said it was fine. It's like every ethics expert has says, yeah, of course, if you're taking a $500,000 vacation from a billionaire on a regular basis, that is not debatable whether that needs to be disclosed. Of course it needs to be disclosed.
Yeah.
But he said it's fine because we've been friends for 20 years. So it's fine. But Clarence, you've been a Supreme Court Justice for 31 years. So it doesn't matter that you've been friends for 20 years. That makes it worse.
You became friends while under the circumstance of you holding a position that maybe Billionaire might like to be on the favorable side of.
Exactly.
To clarify that the what's his name? Harlan Crow is described as a Republican megadonor.
Yeah.
Republican megadonor, and has an extensive Nazi collection, from what I've also seen.
He's just interested. He's just interested in that period of history.
A lot of, very interested in that period of history.
Just really curious about Hitler's paintings.
Owns some of Hitler's paintings.
Just curious. I appreciate it for the art.
I think also, I might be misremembering this, but I think he has swastika emblazoned something. I want to say bed sheets. I think it was like sheets or pillows or something that actually had the swastika on them. He's a fan.
He's a history buff. He's a history buff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any Winston Churchill stuff? No. But
no.
So for our generation, it's posting classified documents online. But for say a generation or two ago, apparently collecting Nazi memorabilia was the cool thing to do in the old mail.
Bro, check out my fucking
Club,
Luger.
Is apparently
putting my Luger in the fucking Discord.
Yeah.
So apparently, Crow is a member of the All Male Bohemian Club, which is
sounds like a hoot.
Sort of cool, all male clubs that they have around. And
sounds like the sort of thing that Connor
that's
Roy
how he
would
sort
be.
Of knows Clarence Thomas.
The guy from Succession, the eldest brother who's a libertarian, like right wing sociopath. Sounds like the sort of thing he'd be involved in.
Just looking at Harlan's got a Wikipedia page, most of which relates to Clarence Thomas and their very tight relationship. So good. I love Wikipedia. It's all about it. It's all cited. It's all got its little citations here. But yeah, like Harlan's donated $500,000 towards publicity campaigns for George W. Bush. He mounted an unsuccessful multi-million-dollar campaign to block the establishment of a publicly owned convention hotel in Dallas. According to Politico, the same year he provided $500,000 to Liberty Central, which was established by Virginia Thomas, the wife of Justice Thomas.
Cool.
Crow declined to comment on whether he was the anonymous donor in question. Yeah, okay.
So through his largesse, reading from the ProPublica report here, we'll obviously link this article in the in the notes, which you should definitely check out because ProPublica's done some great work on this. But so through his largesse, Crowe has gained a unique form of access, spending days in private with one of the most powerful people in the country. By accepting the trips, Thomas has broken long-standing norms for judges' conducts, ethics experts, and 4 current or retired federal judges said, quote, "It is incomprehensible to me that someone would do this," said Nancy Gertner, a retired federal judge appointed by President Bill Clinton. When she was on the bench, Gertner said she was so cautious about appearances that she wouldn't mention her title when making dinner reservations. Quote, "It was a question of not wanting to use the office for anything other than what it was intended." And a bunch of basically, ethics experts and government experts being like, you know how fucked you think this is? It's that exact amount of fucked.
Okay.
How it sounds. It's like horrendous and corrupt. It is.
Here we go. Sorry, Adam. The kinds of Nazi memorabilia that Crowe has.
Oh, here we go.
So, 2 of Hitler's paintings of European cityscapes.
Okay.
A signed copy of Mein Kampf.
Signed. Wow.
Signed. A garden full of statues of some of the 20th century's worst people. I'd assume people like Hitler and things like that, but also having a set of Nazi linens. There we go. It was bed sheets. They've got the Nazi eagle with the swastika down the bottom.
Why though? Is he
also a medal and badges and stuff? But Nazi linens is a new one. I've heard of people being like, "Oh, I've got the knives."
So when you imagine
or whatever,
when you imagine your mate impregnating his wife, do you imagine it happening on Nazi bed sheets?
Yeah, I see what you did. Tied that back into the start of the
Very
show.
good. That's a callback. That's a callback. We're doing well.
Depends on the mate. I hope I don't have any mates who like to sleep or fuck on Nazi bed sheets.
Is that disrespectful if you're wiping your cum off
using Nazi bed sheets?
The Nazi eagle? Is that respectful or is that disrespectful to the Nazis?
To the Nazis?
Yeah.
I guess it depends who's ejaculating as well. I reckon.
If you're having a bunch of really horny
any person of color or Jewish person, I reckon doing it. That's a huge fuck you to the Nazis.
Okay, so what if you got two gay Filipinos having the horniest gay sex of your life? There's a bunch of Santorum that makes its way all over the Nazi bed sheets.
Yep. Now that's a dated reference.
It's a Santorum.
Continue.
Santorum. Yep. Google it. So is that? I'd say that's disrespectful to the Nazis.
For the Nazis, 100%. 100%. Yeah, using Nazi linens as your cum rag, I reckon, is 100%.
It's just gay people of color having sex all over a symbol. I think Hitler would have hated that.
Yeah, he would have loathed it. So I think, you know what? 2-4.
A little sick.
10-4.
A little bit sick on the inside, at the outside.
Yeah, go for it. But I know something tells me Harlan Crowe is not using these Nazi linens as a bit of a site-specific performance piece against the Nazi regime. That doesn't strike me as that. I don't know the man, but no, I think that's a stretch. Yeah, but a signed copy of Mein Kampf is that's a big one.
The new expanded version.
Yeah, with the alternate ending.
With more struggle. With more struggle.
Jesus Christ.
The alternative ending.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
So there's really tight restrictions around this, and most judges
around the declaring of
gifts
and
members of Congress are generally prohibited from taking gifts worth $50 or more, and would need pre-approval from an ethics committee to take the sort of trips that Thomas has accepted. So
I can't even have a gold class voucher then.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you can have one.
US is maybe Australian, 100 Australian.
You can get one gold class ticket, but don't you go with anyone.
Don't you go with anybody.
It is broken that if you are any other judge, any other member of the public service, anything even appearing vaguely close to this would be considered completely out of bounds. But Clarence Thomas is like, well, it's a lifetime appointment. Fucking come at me, bitches.
Sorry, just before we move on from this story, a follow-up little detail of the Nazi collection.
You really fixated on this Nazi stuff.
It's just extra that it's really funny that apparently in this is a quote from the Washingtonian, which is where a lot of the detail of like some of the Hitler artifacts have come from, was that in 2014, Crow's house was included in a public tour of historic homes. A reporter from the Dallas Morning News visited, and Crow was visibly uncomfortable with questions about his dictator statues and Hitler memorabilia, preferring instead to discuss his other historical collections, which, of course, are from far less controversial figures such as Christopher Columbus, Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah,
amazing. Rather than the statues that he had of Lenin and Stalin.
Could you imagine Lenin and Stalin next to each other? Lenin's like, "You got me next to this fucking guy. Do you believe this? Do you know what this fucking guy did to me?"
Anyway, the Clarence Thomas stuff is just another example of how, like, I feel it's not too outrageous to say woefully inappropriate it is for him to still have his position on the Supreme Court when you also factor in his wife and her involvement in all, like, the text messaging,
him
like, trying to set up a coup.
Yeah, him having a say in her case, which he obviously didn't recuse himself from. Yeah, I mean, if you want a history of Clarence Thomas and all the cooked shit he's done, the Dollop did a great series on him a little while ago.
Oh, yeah, and never mind all the hearings, like for his confirmation stuff. I forget the person's name, which
Anita Hill.
Really terrible. Anita Hill.
Yeah, so he was famously, like, they talk about it in the Dollop series, which I definitely recommend everyone listen to. I'll link it in the show notes.
Good.
But like Clarence Thomas was the guy who everyone was saying like would just be fucking filthy and just like make a bunch of like sex jokes. Like he was the guy all throughout university and like in his work life. Just everyone's like
openly like just talking about the pornography he's watching.
Yeah, openly talking about
just
filth.
Like you'd recommend a book.
And multiple people have like come out and said this about him after the fact. And then when he was being confirmed as a Supreme Court Justice, Anita Hill was like, he made a bunch of sexually inappropriate jokes and sexually harassed me. And everyone was like, doubt it.
Like,
you mean fuckboy Clarence? He told me a ripper of a joke about two Jews in a bar.
Yeah. What, the guy who recommended Backdoor Sluts 9 to me?
No, not that guy. And he was confirmed. Yeah, he's done a bunch of highly aggressively cooked shit throughout his career, which is not even remotely disputable. I encourage you to listen to the Dollop for the full details on it. But yeah, this is just another in a long line of, it's a fucking sushi train of cooked shit that Clarence has done throughout his entire career. Like,
how old is he?
Absolutely bananas.
It's a good question. He'd be in his 70s?
Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because he's appointed for life.
Yeah.
74.
There you go. So yeah,
the question I have is how much more life does he have?
Oh, he's probably got another 12 years on the Supreme Court if conservative justices, they seem to be hardy for whatever reason.
I was going to say, Adam, Kissinger turns 100 next month. So yeah, they live forever.
Kissinger's not on the Supreme Court though, so.
No, but he is.
But I'm controlling it.
He's definitely up there.
In terms of villains from history, Kissinger.
There's probably a statue of him in Harlan Crowe's
Amazing. Yeah, Harlan Crowe's like, look, I know it's early, Henry, but I decided to make this up because you are one of history's great villains. I have to say I admire you greatly.
Yeah, when you die, can I please have your glasses?
Can I watch your death mask?
I need them. I need them so bad.
Yeah, so Clarence Thomas is...
and any bed sheets you have. Sorry, I'll stop. Okay.
I just... like, it's so crazy that with all of this cook shit that's happened over the years, there's just like nothing anyone can do about it. You would need a supermajority in the Senate. You need 60 votes to get rid of him, like to impeach him. Yeah. And that's just not going to happen. So it's like, there's literally just nothing that can be done, I guess. Yep. It's just lifetime appointment, whatever.
What's
come at me.
Consequences to my actions? Never heard of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Should he resign? Yes, he should.
10 million%, yes.
But that's it's okay. It's this weird thing that I think people started realizing after Trump got into office. It's like political gravity only works if you
enforce it.
If you let it. Like if you have shame.
Yeah.
And if you're shameless and you just never apologize, never admit you ever did anything wrong, it may be that the consequences of your actions like never catch up to you. Like if Nixon hadn't resigned, like, I don't know, maybe he would have been indicted. Maybe he would have been convicted. Still would have been president. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think politicians in previous years were like, oh no, my name is ruined. I have to resign in disgrace. And the voters were all like, yeah, that's fucked. Like, what that guy did was cooked. We're never going to vote for him again. And then after Trump, everyone simultaneously just went, nah, nothing matters anymore.
It's like, everyone back then resigned in disgrace, like sort of in advance of that concern of like, this is going to destroy the party name or whatever. I have to resign.
We're going to get wiped out at the next election. The voters won't put up with it. Like,
they won't put up with it. But then you get someone like Trump in who's like, fuck that. And then they, realized, oh, holy shit, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's also
different. Adam's cat has just appeared on camera, and I am very, very happy about this. Oates is adorable.
Cheek kitty. But yeah, I mean, it's different now as well with the information sphere that we live in because there is so much more information. It's hard to know what's fact from fiction. So, it's different to what it would have been when Nixon was around because you've got, less papers, less spheres of information that can possibly report on what's happening. And then that changes the national consciousness.
But the documentation is so clear. It's like he took flights from here to here at this time. You know what I mean? Like it's all laid out. It's indisputable.
The captain of the yacht a signed copy of his own memoir. He's one of them.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave some evidence.
It's proof. Like, it's like, dear Captain Williams, proof I was here.
Yeah.
Thomas.
In the Virgin Islands on this day, the 21st of September, 1971, Clarence Thomas, here's an outline of my handprint. Like I've inked and fingerprinted this entire book just so everyone knows I was here at this day. And here's a photo of me with today's newspaper on the boat. Like it's just like you could not be more brazen. It's like
there is also photos and shit all over the place as well.
And
like photos from the trips. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like when we're putting together contracts for clients, it's like, we'll have a clause in there about not accepting gifts. And like, if you're doing tenders for business, like making sure that there's no kind of like undue sort of inappropriate influence in the selection of tenders. And that's like in the private sector when no one cares what the ethics of all of this stuff are, but we have that because like we're professionals and we just do that because it's like the regular course of business now is that you have ethics in your business. And Clarence Thomas is like, there's explicit laws that prevent him from doing this. And he's like, what's you going to do about it?
But I asked about the laws and they said,
someone said it was fine. Who was that someone? I don't remember. It was ages ago.
Yeah. It's like, I asked an expert and it's just him looking in the mirror going, is this
hey,
cool? Clarence, do it. Go on that yacht.
I love that.
You got this, baby.
One of the chief, kind of like a law representatives of the land is like, I chatted to some lawyer about it. It's like, did you not read, your job is interpreting law. Like, surely
make your own advice.
Surely you would look at the clause yourself. I don't know. That's not. Yeah, it's not the problem. The problem is that he's a corrupt fuckhead. So,
yeah. The other thing though, with people like that is that they're so blind to their own shit that they believe in their heart that they can do no wrong. That like anything they do is
he's a narcissist.
Yeah. If the president does it, it's
not illegal. Yeah, exactly.
So, they could murder someone in the street and they would probably go, oh, it's all right, justified somehow.
Well, again, Trump said that too.
Yeah. It's a weird narcissistic world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll probably skip the doggy story, but we'll skip straight to some exploding cows. How about that?
The doggy story.
There was a piece in the Klaxon about guide dogs.
About the guide dogs. I was just like, it's this some weird, terrifying callback again to the announcing pregnancy story, and I was like, "What the fuck are you skipping in the rundown? Like, what story did we have about?" Oh, okay, now I get it.
You're disgusting.
Now I get it.
Tom,
Really
this is a family show, okay,
Yeah.
mate? We're trying to get the G on iTunes, so it's everyone can listen.
Right.
You know, family. They can play it at school.
You've mentioned insemination in come on Nazi bed sheets several
Okay, well,
times.
obviously that's part of the M15 portion of the podcast. The rest of it's a family show, Adam. I got to take some clips out for social media.
Okay, so let me understand this. So in order to get this G rating that you so desperately wanting, you are skipping over maybe a little more maybe in the public interest story around what happened with Guide Dogs Victoria, and instead jumping to maybe a bunch of cows farted so much that when a machine overheated and the factory exploded, it killed 18,000 cows.
That's the kind of content.
You decided to skip to the darkest shit that I read this week.
Oh, it's but if you
just sadness is all I felt after I read this. I was like, those poor fucking cows.
I would argue that given a certain comedic lens, that exploding cows have the potential to be humorous. Now, I don't know how we get there.
Almost anything has the potential to be humorous in the right hands.
Even Clarence Thomas.
I would argue.
So
I'm really struggling with 18,000 cows just being obliterated.
Well, you know what, Tom? Don't order your meat well done then.
Oh. Go on, Adam. You were the one who insisted this was funny.
I found it kind of funny. I don't know.
It's a little bit it's obviously very sad.
A massive explosion and fire. Okay.
Yeah. And it's obviously bad for the animals that had to suffer through that and be in pain.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, George has already explained it. There was 18,000 cows in a relatively enclosed space. A piece of machinery overheated, and there was an explosion. So they don't know for sure yet. But the assumption is that the cows were farting so much that the flames ignited the methane explosively.
Mm-hmm.
So they died in a fart explosion.
Yeah. Also, it injured one person as well.
Also injured one person.
Also a person, yeah. That's obviously regrettable. But
I think the thing that makes me most sad about this, aside from the 18,000 cows dying, is that there is a body that's whole job is just to be keeping track of like the top deadliest barn incidents, and that this is one of the deadliest barn fires recorded since they first began tracking. This happened in Texas.
I need a little bit more information about the barn police. What's the story there? So
the US Animal Welfare Institute tracks them. Just tracks like barn fires and things like that. So they started tracking in 2013. So in the past 10 years, 18,000 cows is one of the worst. But the
biggest one's a million chickens.
Yes. Well, no, the deadliest barn fire overall since they began tracking was at an egg producer in Indiana, and it killed 1 million chickens. Yeah.
Now, is 1 million chickens worth 18,000 cows, or what's the math there?
You got a mass. How many chickens per
cow?
Yeah.
Per cow.
Like, which one's worse? Is it the number of?
Can you Google that? Is that a chat GPT thing that you could ask it? Let's see.
What's the ratio of cow to chicken
per cow? I'll just say mass.
How many
mass
chickens
Christ.
Is a cow worth?
Okay. Okay, there's literally a Reddit question about this.
So all ChatGPT did was just look up Reddit and
to be fair,
regurgitate the answer to you.
The answer was just it depends on the farmer's value of your chickens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very subjective question.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't helpful at all.
I'm going to say like 50 chickens per cow.
It's just
50. That seems like a lot.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
It's just 50. So harrowing, guys. Like, just Yes, it was a fart explosion. I see the chuckle.
Allegedly. We don't know for sure. But
we don't know. It's an alleged fart explosion.
An alleged fart explosion.
Now, but this is a serious question. Like, from an ethics standpoint, like, do you think a cow, like, is a cow closer to being a human than a chicken? Is its proximity to humanness the thing that makes it more valuable? Like, because there must be, we're getting into some theory of mind here stuff. But like, there must be something that it is like to be a cow, right? So you think, like, if you had to imagine yourself in the mind of a cow, you could imagine, you know, feeling pain and heat and warmth and being hungry. And like that is those are cow level emotions. I don't know if chickens, I feel like the sort of little bird brain chickens
would have them. Chickens would have those.
I've met some really lovely, cuddly chickens, so I think they have feelings.
So is it like how complex their brains are is what makes them more or less tragic?
George. Let me
this is a serious ethical question. I don't know why you're laughing.
The path you're going down is where you end up in veganism. The further you keep asking these questions, all of a sudden you're not going to be eating steak on Monday when I officially may or may not ask you guys to be
I
somehow
humbly
involved
accept your invitation to be your best man.
It's not what I was going to... Okay, yep.
Okay. Okay. Don't explode your chickens. Don't explode your cows. Don't explode your migrant workers. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep, those are the 3 laws to live by.
However, the wholesale slaughter of the first 2 for the purposes of consuming their flesh, totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I am up to speed with 21st century ethics.
Yeah, 100%.
And Clarence Thomas can take whatever trip he likes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could ask those questions, George, to an online chat room, and then in the process of trying to prove your point, share some classified documents, which would then...
Or some classified documents might get shared to you.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe.
You just ask this inflammatory question.
How many chickens is a cow? All of a sudden...
start some beef, and then maybe... someone will just suddenly drop in, I don't know, like the PP tape. Like, who knows what kind of classified shit might just turn up.
I'm trying to find a way to phrase it to ChatGPT that doesn't put me on like a watch list.
You say like, what's the mass of?
Are we going by mass? It's just like the biggest animals are worth the most.
Oh, but just say like what is the mass of the average cow? And then go, what is the mass of an average chicken?
But then you also have to wonder about, if you're talking about it in terms of, hang on, like, I can't believe I'm engaging with this, but are you talking about this in economically?
No, mass is in like weight. Sort of.
No, but I mean in terms of like what's worse, you're saying, right? Is it more that like, because a cow might be like a cow
400
is
to
much
1,000
bigger.
kilograms.
Yeah, a cow is much bigger than a chicken, but say chicken meat was $100 a kilo and cow meat $1 a kilo. Then like what you're losing by losing the cow compared to the chicken.
No, I'm just talking about weight. I'm saying ethically, if you want to say like the amount of biomass that has been destroyed by this explosion is going to be...
It seems like a weird place to draw the line around it.
Like, is 18,000 cows actually more biomass than 1 million chickens?
Okay, so chickens...
I think Adam's approaching this from the direction of, I think, who has to clean up the mess, by the sounds of it. Because you're worried about how much mass has exploded in this instance. Yeah. And that's the entire metric that you are judging this on. And that would only be an issue to whoever has to clean up all the goo.
It does seem like a narrow way of interpreting the problem. Yes. I'm not going to lie. So the average chicken is roughly 1.1 to 2 kilograms. So given that the average cow is, say, between 400 and 600, 400 and 1,000, so say call it at 700 or something like that, you got to get at least...
So it's literally like 700 chickens or 600 chickens or something per cow.
It could be as many as, It could be between sort of like, 200 to 400 chickens. But you're right, I guess, in terms of I was being very conservative with the chicken to cow ratio at 50 earlier.
Yeah.
But see, Tom, we've been in the fucking comedy mines for the last 10 minutes talking about these exploding cows. I think you owe us an apology,
Sure.
mate.
Okay, well, fine. But I guess for the amount of chickens, those, hang on, what was it, 18,000 cows?
Yeah. So 18,000.
on 600 chickens per cow, then the cows win. It's 10.8 million chickens.
It's a lot of chickens.
A lot of chickens.
That's a lot of chickens, given the other metric was...
18,000 cows is really the worst barn fire, if you think about it in that regard.
From a mass perspective.
If
someone asked you to do that for some reason.
If for some reason someone asked, based purely on the sheer volume of meat that is getting splattered in this area... Yeah, that is the ethical quandary you have just put us through for the past 10, 15 minutes. So I'm just going to really spell it out then. If me trying to appeal to your tendencies of going like, this is the saddest story ever, maybe we shouldn't go here. So you decided to go there, fine. The cow one is worse because there are more, like, chunks of bone lodged in all the wood. There is more blood dripping from all the various different exteriors, and there's just an absolute shit ton of teeth.
Tom, there's no need to be gross. It's a family show. Just keep it together, mate.
You're talking about which is more ethical to have explode,
or less ethical, I guess,
or less ethical based on mass. On the mass.
I would have to say mass would not be the
I would think that's an arguably easy, like you could say, what's the worst barn fire? Well, obviously the worst. It's because there's more stuff that blew up.
But serious question, you're talking about how do you value life? Like, is the life of the chicken the same as the life of a cow?
Well, that's much more complicated, and I just want to do something simple with maths.
But like, okay, we could agree the life of a fly, okay, is on one end of the spectrum. All right,
I don't want to do this.
And the life of a human child, okay, on the other end of the spectrum. And there's somewhere along that spectrum where you've got chickens and cows. Yes. I think that the life of a chicken is probably worth less than the life of a cow, just because I feel like cows are a bit more switched on.
Valuable?
But there's a lot more chickens than there were cows that died in the two explosions that we're talking about. So does the sheer number, like how many more chickens to cows, does that impact the ethical? This is very interesting. I'm fascinated.
Are you? I'm just sad. I'm just incredibly sad.
Let's wrap it up. Otherwise, I'll have a mind explosion, and I'll have to. I'm sure if you went to like PETA or any of the animal rights activist groups, you would probably get the answer to that. And the answer would be
email Peter Singer.
Probably kick you out of the building, Adam, if you walked in to be like, based purely on mass. Should I kill a million chickens or nearly 20,000
if you had
cows?
To pick between killing a cow or like if the ethical question is I had to kill one cow or one chicken.
Yeah, trolley experiment.
I had no choice. I had to pick between one of the two. What would be the life of greater value?
Yeah.
And the question is, what is value? Value being, the emotional intelligence of it. Is it the byproducts they produce, so milk or eggs?
Economic value.
How long will the chicken or the cow live?
Numbers of life left. Were they young
there
cows?
are many things that you could Adam, narrow this down with. But I just think mass is the simplest way to work out what is the worst barn fire in US history.
Coming back to the mass question.
Adam, I want you to look at me right now and tell me, was this seriously the reason you shared this article into the rundown because you were so interested in this ethical?
It was really just about the fact that cows had a fart explosion. That was the reason why I shared that.
And why the hell have we gone here?
It's all George's fault.
I honestly miss the Nazi cum rags.
On that note, we have been, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. And make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias that do or ever will exist at Unnatural Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and motherfucking TikTok. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Twitter at Tom D. Heath.
You can follow me down to the local farm where I will be thoroughly investigating the value proposition between a cow and a chicken.
It's fascinating.
Imagining you there just turning up in a vest with a monocle being all like, how does this cow compare to, say, a chicken, which I could also afford?
So this is a Wendy's. Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. We'll see you next week.
We're going to get fucking letters.